Per usual, everything on this channel is for educational purposes only and is not intended as financial advice. It is Setup Sunday. Let's take a look at some charts. And the theme of the market right now is there's a lot that's working and almost none of it is in crypto. There are plenty of setups and trades in legacy land and almost none of it in crypto. Now that may change over the next 2 to 4 weeks-ish. Don't know what the catalyst could be. Could be CPI this week. We'll take a look at that. Could be some other random thing. Could take a look at that. You know, we could look at the ETF flows and we could say, well, cup half full. We absorbed negative 687 million on BTC last week and price really didn't go anywhere. Glass half empty on the bull side is we're still negative on flows. You know, we're not seeing flows that we probably need to sustain prices, and that's the main thing. So are we trending? No, we're consolidating. We have thus far avoided the bear flag breakdown, to the core trajectory on the weekly. So that's a win, but it is not to me a slam dunk long trade. There is plenty of other places to throw money right now, and it's not BTC and it's not ETH, and it certainly isn't alts, but that could change. We'll take a look at how that could change. But the first thing we probably need to see is not hugely negative flows every day, specifically out of IBIT. ETH, same deal. You know, this is just a bunch of nothing, right? Over the past 10, 12 weeks, we're not seeing sustained flows. That in and of itself isn't enough to keep price down, but it sure helps if flows are positive and supportive of prices going higher, bare minimum. And you know, you can use all the mental gymnastics you want about anything you want. I don't care. Flows up is good, period, end of story. Same thing with the CoT data. This is BTC. Commercials are red. They're usually correct. Again, I don't care what mental gymnastics you want to use, just backtest it visually. Okay, just look at it, right? When red bars are positive, number go up. That's all you need to know. Red bars are mildly positive here, mildly. And that's a start. That's something. So we're not as bearish as we could be or have been based on the CoT data. You want the blue bars net short because they are usually wrong. Yellow bars are retail. They are also usually wrong. You want them net short. Currently, they're mildly bullish. So this is a picture that leans bullish. Is this enough? I don't think so. You know, you probably need more extreme long positioning to help, or some sort of chart pattern, something, right? And we may get that this week. That may happen. But again, why? Why are we throwing money at this? Not you, of course, listener. You are perfectly trading anything in the market, right? But just in general, to me, I think it's a little early if you're trying to min-max something on the long side with BTC. ETH is the complete opposite on the CoT data. This is essentially as bearish as you can get. And again, I don't care what your opinion is on who this is or what they're doing or why. It's just data. I've said this before. It could represent anything. It could represent rainfall in the Gobi Desert. Okay, it doesn't matter. If it backtests well, I will use it. And this does backtest very well. So long as commercials, whoever they are net short, that is going to be challenging to bring prices higher or sustain high prices. That isn't to say it can't happen. But looking at this, this is the opposite of the long picture for ETH. So to me, when I see this, that's a no-go for ETH on the long side. And this is the problem right now. The problem with crypto, again, is everything else is working. SPY, all-time highs, reconsolidating, very likely to push higher. The other problem is, the unspoken problem is, okay, let's say if this is wrong, let's say this breaks down. Guess what BTC is going to do? Probably not randomly break up, right? So it's almost a lose-lose. We need the money for whatever reason, for whatever catalyst, to swing into crypto. And we just haven't seen that yet. So right now, SPY is working. Even the Qs, which are threatening and had been threatening a massive multi-month head and shoulders, a diamond top. Even here, this is threatening to negate any bearishness at all and looks ready to go higher. Now let's say that's wrong, just like initially the bearish setup looked wrong. You know, this is kind of the two places this could go. But if this keeps making higher highs, game on, right? That's it. Now maybe that's what we need for crypto because crypto is leveraged QQQ. It's leveraged TQQQ, whatever you want to think about that as. But Qs look great. IWM, which is where if I had to make a choice between the three, I would throw my money. Also looks excellent here. This is small caps. You have this rising inverted head and shoulders, which historically from memory is more bullish than a flat or declining inverted head and shoulders. And this is what, 20% trade. Let's say you don't want that. You want some juice. You want some leverage. TNA is leveraged IWM. There's a trade there. Does this look anything like BTC or ETH or any alt? No, except one, maybe two, but I'm not going to talk about BCH, so don't even ask me. I don't care. Yes, it looks fine. Go ahead and trade it. But Monero is definitely hands down the best looking alt right now. Before I get into the legacy side, again, I'll put a link to the description, a link in the description, I always mess that up, of the live trades that I'm currently in. I separated this between crypto, long-term, short-term, and then other. IREN's not really crypto, but just because a lot of people are asking me, what am I doing and why, and they want to see rationale, so this is it. My goals for this week, rebalance this a bit. I don't know why I have Roku at 6% and why I have Metaplanet at 3, right? Metaplanet should be 10+% on the port here. And I almost feel like I'm planting too many oak trees, aka too many long-term ideas and not enough short-term ideas, but that's kind of just where I'm at mentally. The long-term ideas feel safer than the short-term ideas. But I think we are approaching a tipping point here where it may be appropriate to take a bigger punt on some short-term ideas. Now, the interesting thing here is we get to Metaplanet in a second. If I was going to throw money in a BTC trade, that's where it would be. It would not be MSTR. 0 times out of 10 trillion, it would be MSTR, okay? There may be a trade for MSTR in a month from now. And ideally, that's the case, right? You trade Metaplanet, you get your 50 whatever percent, and then you swing that into MSTR. So why are we rushing MSTR? Just doesn't make any sense. The other thing I have here, do I have a bunch of green bananas, right? Like stuff that needs a bunch of time versus yellow bananas. FDS is probably, we'll take a look at it, probably the fastest one that's going to resolve other than DraftKings. We'll take a look at that as well. But anyway, I'll put this in the description of the video. So for this week, we have CPI, like I said. Rate cut odds are currently essentially 0% chance of cut. Okay. Now, what could change that potentially is CPI. I don't know if that's enough. Now, I'm expecting CPI to come way under. Way under. If it doesn't come way under, if it comes at expectations, then this is going to just not budge at all. But if I'm looking for catalysts, what could move small caps? What could move crypto? It would be CPI that comes in way under expectations, which would help the doves and give them some ammo for cuts potentially in January. We still probably don't see a cut, but maybe we start to price in cuts sooner. Maybe IWM is pricing in Powell leaving and cuts coming sooner. I don't know. But IWM clearly is where the market is at. Now, why Monero, right? Why does Monero look better than everything else? Don't know, don't care. Really don't. All I know is I bought some the other day and I'm holding it. I'm going to be holding it for a long time. You don't get patterns that consolidate for a decade and then get an answer overnight. Look at gold. Now, Monero isn't gold, but it's going to take some time for this to play out. I would not play this on leverage personally. I would just get a fat bag and hold it. That's what I'm doing. Nothing else to say, but it's one of the easiest charts to think about right now, or not think about, because there's really nothing else to do but just buy and hold. So for BTC, this was setting up as a bear flag, like I said, and then Adam and Eve. Now is this an ascending triangle? We'll take anything, right? Whatever. Anything that isn't bearish, that doesn't break down, is fine by me. This pattern, whatever it ends up being, still measures as an edge to edge to essentially 103. So I do think there's a trade to be had, 93 to 103. Let's say this is a triangle. Ideally, you want this coming to 3/4 complete. So we're still a little early. You also don't have the bullish TK cross. You don't have pricing cloud yet. So lots of things to look for and be optimistic about, but Metaplanet's already there. So Metaplanet needs BTC to tease a breakout at the very least. I'm surprised Metaplanet has acted how it has and as bullish as it is. But to me, that's 100% the trade here over BTC on leverage ETFs, whatever. Metaplanet all day. That's it. There's nothing else to do on BTC. And again, this is what you want. You want multiple trades. You want to just roll the money around as you're hitting targets. And, I don't know why this looks the way it does, but this looks phenomenal, which is another reason why I need to keep adding to this. Chart pattern, edge to edge in the cloud, stop loss 450 or whatever. Okay, call it a day. It looks excellent. This will break down probably if BTC breaks down, so you got to keep that in mind. But this looks very, very good. And MSTR does not. MSTR looks like an altcoin. Looks like a leveraged altcoin. There's nothing to do here. You can tell me anything you want. It's not for me. There's a div. There's maybe a pattern coming up. There was a falling wedge. Didn't really go anywhere. There's this TKC clamp. Fine. I don't feel confident enough throwing any money at this here. Maybe in February. Maybe you get something from 185 to 275, but it just doesn't look like this. I mean, this is excellent as a setup. Then there's ETH and some other alts, and alts will do well so long as BTC does well. It's unlikely that they're going to randomly turn around if BTC doesn't turn around. So if BTC goes from 93 to 103, you may get a 60% trade on AVAX or something, right? That may happen, but I think it's too early to just guess. So ETH just tried to consolidate down here, and it looks okay. It looks fine. I think if I'm resetting the TA a little bit. Again, you have what? Adam and Eve ascending triangle measures to maybe 4,000. Would I want to take this on leverage here? Also, no, not yet. I like this above 3,200. I like this maybe later on, January. Why this would move around the Fed meeting, I don't know, right? I can't answer those questions. I have no idea. But I do think this probably needs a little more time. And if it breaks down, you know, all bets are off, right? You don't want to see lower lows on any of this stuff at this point anymore. But I do think it's a little early on ETH. It's probably a little early on ETH-BTC. ETH-BTC tried to break out here. I think the next level again would be 04, because at that point you'd have a double bottom / ascending triangle again and a bullish cloud breakout. That probably doesn't happen until March, maybe Q2. But I do think it's worth continuing to watch this, checking in on it once a week, right? Is there anything here? No, not yet. Not yet. Still consolidating. Just not for me. Doesn't look like I want to throw any money at that one. There are a few charts here and there that have made it through the cracks where they are potentially maybe setting up. And this is, of course, where everyone's going to focus their attention, which is fine. This is SWE. So yes, you could get this edge to edge move. And I like this setup. I do. I don't not like it. I think this is a fine place to try. It's a fine place to try. But you got to be careful because to me, it just doesn't feel like alts are the move yet. I could be wrong, but there could be a couple that are setting up like this. And this will look different. This is on Coinbase, not Kraken. Kraken, the cloud looks different. I would just use the most liquid exchange you can. And there's a yearly pivot at 270 as well. So 185 to 270, fine. 190 to 270, fine. You know, that's what, 40% or whatever it is. Great trade. Try to leverage. I don't know. But if I had to throw money at anything, it would still be XMR. That seems easy and safe to me. And if this wants to, if you want to throw like something intraday on this or intra-week, NFA, it is a setup. You know, I could argue there's a high and tight flag here too. Interesting that it just sort of stopped at the cloud for 7 days or whatever, just waiting. So there may be a few more of these out there. I haven't really looked far and wide, but that's one example. The other example is the AVAX example. This is a 60% move. Probably not until February if we see it, but there are quite a few alt charts that are setting up as an inverted head and shoulders. I again think it's still a little too early for me to throw money at this. I would rather buy this at 15 than 13. I'd rather buy high and sell higher than try to buy low and be wrong. But we're getting there. We're getting there. February, March is probably where we start to see that. And if we see Bitcoin dominance breakdown, oh man, can't wait to see the Ben Cowan videos on that. Who knows if we'll see it, but we could if this stuff starts to break up. So I do think it's a little early, but there are probably some trades there coming up. So for Legacy, my best and brightest 5 to 10 short-term, long-term ideas, FDS. Again, I don't really care what this is. It's FactSet, blah, blah, blah. Who cares? Whatever. It's inverted head and shoulders in the cloud, bullish TK, recross, checks all the boxes, looks great. Is this a massive move? No, but I think it looks ready to me. It looks readier than AVAX, at least to me. You got DraftKings also just sort of consolidating here. Cloud on the daily doesn't really help you too much, but on lower time frames, it looks a lot better. I don't know if that's helpful or not, but I do like this setup. I do like how this looks. I like that it's consolidated at this point for many, many months. Should get an answer there soon. And then there's a slew, a gaggle, a menagerie of falling wedges in the market right now, which just means things went way up and have been consolidating sideways for a while. This is open. It has a little bit of a mystique behind it based on who's, I'm not going to say pumping it, but there's eyeballs on this, right? So if this starts to break up, it's probably going to move harder and faster than the rest of them. Cloud likes it, Pattern likes it. Opened some of this myself on Friday. You know, it's a 2x plus, right? And that's the case with most of these. IREN also inverted head and shoulders down here. You've got the nuclear energy piece, and this measures to some stupid level, right? This is a 3x from here. I opened it at like 36 or something. I like ads at 52, whatever's above the cloud. So I like ads later on, but this also looks excellent. BABA to me looks excellent. Structure looks great. Cloud doesn't give you any favors here, but I do like this setup a lot as well. Also, again, not quite a 2x from here. And that's probably a consideration. What does the risk reward look like? What does the structure look like? What does the cloud look like? For those of you playing the home game, but BABA also looks great. Something else to consider, you know, that probably isn't said enough is the sectors. You know, do you want all energy? Do you want all AI? Or do you want to mix it up? Some international, some commodities, whatever. And the good thing about these falling wedges is the stop loss, just like IREN, you know, new lows. Okay, that's it. You know, I'm out, right? New lows on BABA. Okay, easy. I'm out. Nothing else to do. I think OKLO is probably the hardest of the 5 on the falling wedge pain train, just because it's already broken up a lot. I don't know. You know, some people love this. Again, why do people love this? Because it's super volatile and everybody's watching it and everybody's paying attention to it. Just like open, right? Just like GME, AMC. It's the same type of deal. There's a lot of retail money sloshing around in this stuff. And I think there's probably even some leveraged ETFs for all these names as well. But another consideration. And then on the energy side, UUUU looks excellent. It's probably worth looking at. I should have looked at the constituents of this to see if it's all just like OKLO and whatever else. But getting a bullish TK recross price above cloud here. Bullish cloud following. You had an inverted head and shoulders. This is a reconsolidation after a pullback. I don't like anything sub 16. So it's got to sort of live up here for a while. But another great short-term consideration. And then on the long-term side, there's some biotech-ish names, Novo, MRNA. These probably take longer to break up, but they have paid their dues for quite some time now. Dow Chemical Company, maybe it's defense as well. Also looks very, very good to the long side. Stitch Fix, this chart still looks stupid to me, like just unbelievably good. If and when Metaplanet goes where it might, I'll be rotating into SFIX pretty hard. And the great thing about this is you're not waiting like halfway through the pattern. You're not waiting 3/4 of the way through the pattern. You're at the end. Stop loss is at what, 380? Okay, right? 380 targets 15. It's a 3x. Yeah, I'll take that trade every day. And I'll keep adding. Massive multi-year rounded bottom there. And then lastly, just another shout out for Zoom. Same deal. Multi-year rounded bottom. If we take from 2022 to now. Cloud likes it. It's got pattern after pattern after pattern. And again, it's another 2x potential. So there's a ton of stuff out there that looks nothing like crypto. Not yet. Now, crypto is going to give you those outsized moves, 40, 50, 60%. But for me right now, the safer place to be is legacy. And you can trade both on Kraken. Just a shout out for Kraken. That's all I got for this one. Give me a like, dislike, comment, share, subscribe, and happy trading.